Shabbos 12.
Shalom to all! Today we're going to learn Masechus Shabbos, Parakut Beis, Mishnah Beis, and Mishnah Gimel. And today's Mishnahs are being learned Leilu Nishmas, Mars, Miriam, Sarah, Basar, Yaakov, Moshe, her Neshama should have an aliyah. The Mishnah Beis tells us, HaChayresh Kol Shehu, someone who does even the smallest bit of plowing. Now how do you do a tiny bit of plowing? So you could take a shovel and dig a little hole in the ground, and that's considered plowing. Hamenachesh, someone that weeds their garden, V'amakarse v'amazared Kol Shehu, or someone that cuts dead or extra branches, even the slightest bit, chayiv, they're chayiv for doing so on Shabbos. Now why is that? So a person's chayiv chayresh, plowing, even the smallest amount, because if he makes a tiny hole in the ground, he could plant one seed in it. So that's a sufficient enough plowing to be mechayiv him. And weeding something or cutting dead or extra branches, he would be chayiv zoireya, he would be chayiv for planting. Now even though he's not planting anything, he's helping improve something that's already been planted, so he's chayiv for that. The Mishnah continues, Hamalakit eitzim, someone who gathers wood, which means they cut wood off a tree. Imlatakein, if their whole intention is to fix the tree up, cut these branches off because there's too many branches, so kol shehein, they're chayiv for even doing the slightest amount, like we just learned previously in the Mishnah, that's an isra of zayreya, they're improving the tree. But imlahesek, if they're cutting this wood off the tree because they want to use it for firewood, so then they're only chayiv kidei levashel beitza kala, if they cut enough wood that they would be able to cook an easily cooked egg with it. And what's an easily cooked egg? We've had this previously, that's a chicken egg. And in this situation, they would not be chayiv for zayreya because they're not trying to improve the tree, they would be chayiv for kaitzer, for harvesting. It's like they're harvesting wood, so that's the isser they'd be iver on. The Mishnah continues, Hamalaket asavim, someone that plucks grasses out of the ground. Imlatakein, if they did so because they're trying to fix up the ground, kol shehein, they're chayiv even for plucking out the smallest amount of grass. That's because plucking out even a little bit of grass is chayresh, is plowing, it's improving the ground so that he could plant. Imla behema, but if he's just plucking these grasses because he wants to feed it to his animal, so then kimloi pi hagadi, he would be chayiv for plucking out the amount that he could fit into his goat's mouth, and over here would be chayiv for kaitzer, for harvesting. And moving on to Mishnah Gimel, now talking about the malach of kaisev, writing. Ha-kaisev shtei oisiyos, someone that writes two letters, ben b'minoi, ben b'smailoi, whether he writes them with his right or left hand. Now this is talking about someone who's ambidextrous, someone that could write with both hands. Ben mishem echad, whether they're the same letter, two alephes or two bases, ben mishnei shemois, or it's two different letters, an aleph and a base. Ben mishnei samanios, or he wrote it in different types of ink, in different colors. B'chal lashain, it could be he wrote it in any language. Chayiv, a person would be chayiv for writing these two letters. Rabbi says, the only reason why the Chacham were mechayiv a person by writing two letters is because he's making a mark. Now why is that so? Because that's what they would write on the beams or on the boards of the Mishkan, Leda Ezehu Ben Zugai, to know which one is its pair. As we've said previously, when they were dismantling the Mishkan, they needed to know which boards went next to the other ones, so they would write an aleph on one and a beis on the other. So Rabbi says they just did this because they needed to make a mark, which two went next to each other. So a person would be chayiv even for making two different marks on something on Shabbos, not just two different letters. Rabbi says, Matzinu shem katan mishem gadol. We find that a person can be chayiv for writing a small name that's part of a bigger name. Shem mishem Shmuel, Noach mi Nachar, Don mi Daniel, God mi Gadiel. Meaning what Rebbe's telling us is as follows. This person had in mind to write a long name. Shemin, Shmuel, Nachar, Daniel, Gadiel. So you might think that he's only chayiv once he writes the entire name. But no, the moment he writes Shin Mem from the name Shemin or Shmuel, or Nun Ches from Nachor, or Dal Nun from Daniel, or Gimel Daled from Gadiel, he'd be chayiv for that, because each of those on their own is a name. Shin Mem is Shem, Nun Ches is Noach, Daled Nun is Dun, Gimel Daled is God. And since he managed to write something chashav in just those two letters, even though he didn't have intent to write it, he would still be chayiv for doing so. We're going to stop here for the day. Pick up tomorrow with Mishnah Daled and Hey. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.